peace. Peace. Be still. Judah, Gad, Benjamin, Manasseh, Asher, Naphtali, Zebulun, Issachar.
I'm speaking peace over your situation right now.
Dan, Simeon, Ephraim, Reuben. Sea is tossing, evil roaring, waves clashing, times passing, people are lashing. Hear the cries of souls in distress. Trickle of injustice far, it won't rest. You gotta remember, days of old love takes control from evil strongholds. Beast to the sea, birth from racism. Devil don't care about us. Dragon breathe the fire of hateism. Lost souls in the maze of darkness. Evil taking control of the heartless. We must not get distracted from the divine revelation. The teacher generation, to build a holy nation. We are children of the Most High, holy God's precious creation. Most High is calling out to the nation. Say peace, be still. By the dragon, speaking blasphemy against the God of peace, destined to make war. The sea is in a rage, beast roar, release the terrorism from its iron cage. The trail of tears, simulation, souls trapped, named, deleted, enslaved for years. CER in accelerator, man's quest to be the creator. The sea is unrest, colors flashing, flags flying. It's very clear to me why the souls are crying. Virus into the system, these are directories. The root bears evil fruit. Those who have ears, let them hear what the Spirit say. Endure, overcome, I will give you peace that's everlasting. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. Revelations 21, the word of the Most High reads, says, Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the old heaven and the old earth had disappeared, and the sea was also gone. And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven like a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. Glory to the Most High. I heard a loud shout from the throne, say, Higher! Glory, glory, glory. Look, the Most High's home is now among his people. He will live with them, and they will be his people. The Most High himself will be with them. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there will be no more death, or sorrow, or crying, or pain. All these are gone forever. Peace, be still.
You know, so many times we're quick to point fingers and pass judgment on people. And not realizing, if you really thought about it, at any given time, it could have been you.
It could have been you. It could have been you. It could have been you.
Alright, now close your eyes. I'ma take you for a ride. Now sit right there. I'ma let you fantasize. Now imagine your child somewhere in the streets. Come on, strung out bad on drugs without no food to eat. Oh Lord, I done seen that life, cause I was that child. I come from a good old home, but somehow I ended up wild. Going in and out of prison, had my mama stressing. I kept running from the Lord, and all they did was try to give me blessings. Then daddy died, sister died. But I thank the Lord because through it all I still survived. Put God first and don't never change in everything you do. Now open your eyes and imagine.
It could have been you. Walking around in the streets with no food to eat. It could have been you. Wandering in this world, not knowing who to call on or who to hold on to. It could have been you. When I was down to my last dime, nobody wouldn't even give me the time, Lord. It could have been, it could have been you. It could have been, it could have been you.
I done been to the hospitals, I done been to the nursing homes. I done seen people dying cause they heartbroken, they all alone. Ain't nobody worried about mama, they ain't worried about daddy. But when they dead and gone, everybody wanna come and sing a song. Just the other day I saw a man that was eating out the garbage can. I saw a pastor ride by, he ain't even try to lend a hand. See these movie stars and these big rappers, they done learned the game. See they try to give away things to boost their name to get fortune and fame. But they ain't worried about platinum, and they ain't gotta sell gold. I don't wanna gain the world if I have to lose my soul. Put God first and don't never change in everything you do. Now open your eyes and imagine.
It could have been you. Walking around in the streets with no food to eat. It could have been you. Wandering in this world, not knowing who to call on or who to hold on to. It could have been you. When I was down to my last dime, nobody wouldn't even give me the time, Lord. It could have been, it could have been you. It could have been, it could have been you. Say it could have been you, that little girl that man touched. It could have been you, that boy the world gave up on. It could have been you, that family with no food to eat. Nobody but Jesus, who's a healer, Jesus, a heart fixer, Jesus, a doctor, Jesus, yes he is, Jesus. A mother when you're motherless, Jesus. A father when you're fatherless, Jesus. A lawyer in the courtroom, Jesus. It could have been you. It could have been you. Walking around in the streets with no food to eat. It could have been you. Wandering in this world, not knowing who to call on or who to hold on to. It could have been you. When I was down to my last dime, nobody wouldn't even give me the time, Lord. It could have been, it could have been you. It could have been, it could have been you.
Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted. Glad to be here with you all tonight. As you all have seen, we have a special guest in the house tonight. Let me just let you know who that special guest is one more time. Absolutely. Sister E is in the house with us. Sister E, all the way from Tennessee. Sister E, let's bring her in. How you doing there, my sister?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good, good. We are so happy to have you in the room with us tonight. Let me bring you in here good and make sure you all are set up for us. How you been? How's everything up in Tennessee?
Everything is good. Everything is
Okay,
good in
okay.
Tennessee. It's not that bad. We don't have any any riots in our area, so it's pretty good.
Okay, okay. If you all can hear Sister E, let me know that you can hear her okay. Give me a thumbs up. If you can hear Sister E good, because I'm just straightening up all of our stuff here. So you all let me know that you can hear her good and she's coming in well. I'm just setting everything up so I can get her. Sister E, we lost you there for a second. Are you back with us?
Yeah,
There
I'm here
she
with
is.
you. I'm sorry. I got a lot of stuff going on in the background, so bear with me.
Okay, okay. I'm just every time I move my screen, I gotta set you back up, but that's okay. We're gonna have you in it. There it goes. That's perfect. Perfect. So we have okay, y'all gave me a one. If you can hear Sister E and myself, give me a thumbs up. A thumbs up. All right? And I'm looking over into the chat room. If you can hear us both, give us a thumbs up.
Let
And
me
we
see.
got
Let me scoot around so I can be able to get me a good spot because there's a lot going on. But
oh,
I can.
I can imagine. I can imagine there's a lot going on. You know, we have a lot going on in this whole circumstance that we're in right now. We all
Yeah.
have a lot going on. And
Yeah.
so what have you been doing? I mean, you got your channel up and going now. How's everything going there?
Everything is going good. It's moving much faster than I thought. When I initially started the channel, before I started out with Berean, and it was actually somewhat of his idea for me to start a channel. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, but it was his idea for me to start the channel, and once I started it, it moved faster than we expected. So I decided to kind of step down and start really getting active with my channel because I didn't expect it to move that fast. So everything is going very well.
Okay, good, good. And you know, I'm gonna fix that echo, you all. I know what's going on with that. I'm gonna fix that. Give me 1 second. I know what I need to do to fix that, and I'm going to fix that. I think I can fix it. I'm not for sure, but I'm gonna try to. But anyway, can you talk one more time, Sister E?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Gotcha. We got you now.
Okay, cool.
So, you know, that's how we met. We met on Berean TV. That's how
Yeah,
we
we
met.
did. Yeah, we did.
And you were holding your own when it came to the apologetic community.
Yep.
And
That was
they
an
were coming
interesting
very,
time.
very hard at you, but you had did a magnificent job in holding yourself down.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was a rough time. It was a rough time when you're dealing with individuals that don't really understand who you are and what you stand for. You have to consistently defend it and defend it not just with the way with verbalizing in my defense, but also in the way I had to carry myself. So it was a great opportunity, and I learned a lot.
Okay, okay. Um, Now I did something there. I don't know what I just did, but y'all give me a minute. I'm going to fix it because I did something here
Looks
to.
like you flipped it around.
But I'm going to fix it. Give me 1 second. There we go. So, do y'all still hear the echo, or is she good now? Go ahead and talk, Sister E.
Hello, hello. How do
Okay,
I
I think we
sound?
got you. If y'all still hear echo, let me know. She sounds good now. Okay, everybody says good now. Okay, good, good. Um, your channel on YouTube. Let everybody know what your channel is.
Okay, so my channel is called, if you look for my YouTube, it's Sister E, and it's actually spelled Sistae. And my show is called Let's Talk with Sister E. In that show, I just bring individuals on, and we have dialogue. If it be about current events, if it's about a religion, if it's about what just day to day life, we have those type of conversations. I work with a couple of brothers within the Israelite community. If you know anything about Tayu Ministries, I do a lot of collaboration with them on my channel, and Dante Fortson, I work with them a lot. So it was a great opportunity. Interesting thing is doing stepping out on my own. I had an opportunity to meet a lot of people and get a lot of viewpoints as far as being an Israelite or not being an Israelite, how they can handle, really more so Israelite, how they can handle, life and manage lifestyles and families and all that. So it's been an interesting walk, very interesting walk.
Good, good. Somebody put in the chat room, you all hit the like button. So do me a favor, you all hit that like button. Let's build up the algorithm. Uh, you know, um, I I was there when your channel started, and
Yep.
I was there when it kicked off. And what I also like was your channel. You have over 1,000 subscribers right now, almost 1,500.
Yeah, I do. It moves fast.
And so especially you ladies, you should go over and check it out. She's done a segment on women in the Bible, and let me tell you, I really enjoyed that segment. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and you brought out a lot of people in the scriptures that it was just awesome. So y'all go there and check out some of her videos and stuff like that. Now also um, you've also have been on late nights. I mean, you do
Yes.
some really late nights.
Yeah, I do that more so for our people because I know right now we're in such a interesting time. And sometimes I know how people are when it gets late at night, when people are a little bit more worried and, I don't want to necessarily say depression, but most people are at their lowest point sometimes at night by themselves. And one day I was having my own moment, and I said, you know what? I said, let me reach out to my people. And it ended up being something where it grew and it grew fast. And it's just a place to laugh and forget about what's going on around you. And it's more, and the interesting part is the show is not just about me talking, but it's heavily engaging. Like you have to be engaged. I talk to my community, I pay attention to the chat. We have a lot of fun. And I just hope that with that, people can be able, to have that downtime and just forget about what's going on just for a moment. And that was the goal.
Okay, I'm gonna get you back there in a minute because again, every time I mess with something, I mess up something. So don't worry, I got you back. Um, I'm just gonna fix that. Y'all forgive me there because I was trying to straighten some things out. And that's what happens when you're doing this stuff live and you
Oh,
try to
yeah.
set it up and then you mess it up trying to set it up. So I'm just getting my overlays. We're using overlays here so you all know what we're doing. And one of the things you always have to do is you're constantly fixing and repairing when you go live like this. So I'm getting her together here And I'm just going to fix it one more time. There we go. There we go. And one of the things that you had on last night that I enjoyed was what is going on right now. And you
I'm
brought
so
that
sorry.
out.
Hold on. 1 second. My dogs. That's why I'm yelling and let them outside. But I'm back. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, that's all right. You know, you got to get Fifi straight.
Yes.
I told you tonight we wanted to talk about, one of the things we wanted to talk about was, you had talked about reparations. And I know because it's on the news now. Everybody's talking about reparations and what we're going through, things that we are experiencing, and what have you. And I thought it was an interesting subject. I'm just still moving you around here trying to get it together. And I thought it was an interesting subject that what they were bringing out. I really did. I thought it because when I saw it on the news, I'm just fixing you up here. When I saw it on the news, I was almost a little upset about it when I saw it. And let me tell you the reason why, because I think the timing of it was in such a way that it was like they're trying to appease us.
Yes.
And I know we talked a little bit about it today. But do you think our people are ready for reparations?
I don't want to say we're not ready because you're dealing with a different generation of individuals. We've seen the mistakes of our past forefathers and our ancestors when it's dealing with civil rights, when it's even dealing as far as any type of compensation because of reparation. Because if we remember, they attempted to do that at one time when they first freed the slaves and they never followed through on it. So we, as a people, we have learned how. I think we're learning from our mistakes. Because even if you look at the riots right now, they are making it very visible that it's not our people that's doing the rioting, but it's more so of the other individuals that are engaged. So I think with that, that's an example that we are growing and we're a little bit different when it comes to us. Now, as far as reparation, who's going? I think we are ready. Like I said, as a community, we have a lot of individuals that have talked about reparation for a couple of years now. You got Claude Anderson, you got Boyce Watkins. These individuals have already conditioned us to think about it, and we think a little bit different when we talk about wealth management and money management. So yeah, as a community as a whole, I think we're ready. Now, as individuals, I think it's still opportunities there. But in anything, when you're dealing with that, there are going to be opportunities. But I think we're ready. I really do. You know, you can never be too ready. But I think right now it is time. It is time.
Well, what concerns you about it? And I'll share with you what concerns me about it. I just wanted to see if our focus of thinking is on the same page, and I'll tell you what I'm concerned about.
Okay. Well, my biggest concern again is how we manage our money, and also what's the motive behind it. That's always going to be my question. You know, what's the motive? Why are you doing this at this time of in this season? And one thing I do know is they know as a people in our community, they think that, you know, once we get that money from wherever, the government, we're going to recirculate that back into the economy. And I think that's the biggest thing that I'm concerned about. I'm like, once we get this money, we can't allow it to recirculate into their economy. We have to build our own economy and let that wealth circulate there. So that's my biggest concern. I want us to be very, very much more segregated in our mindset, far as making sure that money stays in our communities, as we did in the early 50s and 60s. Our monies were in our neighborhoods. It circulated. It never left our communities. And that's my biggest concern. I would want us to ensure that when we do this, that this money maintains and stays within our community. Because if we don't build wealth in our community, we've already noticed nobody else is going to see us. So we have to be able to have that mindset.
Okay. Well, and let me tell you what my concern is. And let me just say this to you all that are tuning in. The reason why, and I know I keep fixing this thing, I'm not satisfied with it. And when I set this up, I should have locked my screen. When you do these overlays, so just give me a minute, I'm going to fix it. I'm not happy with it. And I'm going to keep messing with it until I get it the way it's supposed to be. So just give
Am
me
I
1
moving too
minute
much?
here. What's
Am I
that?
moving too much? Am I moving too much?
No, it's not you. It's my system.
Okay.
It's on my part. So I'm going to fix it there, and let me lock it. Now I got to do is lock it, and we're there. Got it. Okay. So here's I feel a lot better, you all. Here's my issue, and if you all put. They said your volume is low. Can you cut yourself up a little bit?
All right. I think these headphones. Do I sound better?
You sound a lot better. A lot better.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually ordering a microphone, and I'm having to use these generic headphones until I get my mic. So, bear
Okay.
with me.
As you all know, Brother Floyd killed last week, Monday, and there are people rioting. Some people say demonstrating or uprising, whatever you want to call it, walks, all of that. I think that apart from the looting, I think it's good what we see happening. This is in the middle of a pandemic, Sister E. This is in the middle of an election year. This is all in the middle of a political climate where there is no unity. I mean, I have never seen political parties fight like they are right now.
Yes.
On top of that, we had this issue happen with the police. We've had 3 since the pandemic. We had Ahmaud Arbery, we had Rihanna up in Louisville, and we have this one. Who knows how many more that did not make the media? And all of that during this pandemic, we have a pandemic that there is no antibiotic, there is no vaccine, there's no cure, there's no nothing. And we know that, and what we do expect is for the pandemic, the numbers to rise. We know that in the United States, everybody that's dying, 60% at least are our people. 60% of the people that are dying. But yet, we're the least amount of the population. So we know on those that are contracting it is way more than our population. But those that are dying from it, so out of 100 some odd thousand people that died, at least we know way more than half are our people, although we're only around 17% of the overall population. So then we had this to happen. So now that this has happened, we also see something else unique. We see people of all walks of life, ethnic groups, jumping in and saying, you know what, enough is enough. This has to stop. There is legitimacy to Colin Kaepernick's cause, legitimacy. And with all of that in, the talk on the table that Sister E and we caught, and she brought it out last night on her channel, somebody started talking about reparations. So I wanted to lay all that groundwork, and I was a little distracted trying to set everything up. This is how I would have originally rolled it out. So now we got these talks, which I think is just a little wave, to bring out some reparations that I know it's not going to happen. Then we had Bernie Sanders running, and when they asked him, they asked Kamala Harris, they asked Cory Booker about reparations, And for political purposes, they all kind of ignored the subject. Then you had Biden who said early on, why should we pay for reparations for something that happened over 300 years ago? So now, because of this, I was under the impression, where they going to get money for reparations? And then all of a sudden, they came out with this multi-trillion-dollar package to give everybody that filed income taxes last year almost 12, in some cases 2,000, $1,200 to $2,000. Then when I looked at the statistics, out of the African American people who filed taxes, only about slightly under 50% filed taxes. Those that filed taxes is not getting money back, because if you're in a category where you owe child support or owe the government, then that stimulus check, they absorb that up. So once again, we got the short end of the stick.
Correct. We always do. Yep.
And if we get reparations, what do you think that if people got a second package, what they're going to do with that money? What do you think we would do with that money?
When you say second package, are you speaking of a second stimulus plan being?
I'm talking about both reparations and a second stimulus. Let's talk about reparations, because that's what's on the table. What do you think we would do with reparations if this government says, you know what, in lieu of what's going on, there's the push behind it, you got every ethnic group on board, let's roll out, I think the number was like what? I forgot how much trillions of dollars in.
14.
How much?
14 trillion.
14 trillion. What do you think we would do with that money? If
That right
everybody
there-
got money.
Again, you're dealing with the new generation. I think this generation is a little bit different. We know that there would be a population of individuals that would just, blow the limit, and they wouldn't see it, and they would, like I said, they would put it back into this economy. But I think it would be a nice little size of us, because our mindset is changing now. We're understanding that the system in corporate America and whatever jobs we have not sustained us, and we're getting into the mindset of creating our own businesses, creating our own wealth. Even from the person who at one time was a food stamp mother is now coming out of that, and she baking cakes out of her house. I know a woman that's doing that, and she's becoming now. People are now coming in the mindset of, I have to generate wealth on my own. Now, again, I won't say that a nice population of us will not go and blow the money, but I will say that a nice few of us will take that money and probably create our own environment and um, our own economy. Again, I'm praying our people will return back to the way we were back in the 50s. Again, when we had our Black businesses in our Black neighborhoods, and we didn't depend on outsiders because we depended upon ourselves. So I pray and I hope that we get to that mindset, because if we do, that's how we'll be able to grow as a community. Now, if we go back into the mindset of buying the houses away from each other, going into the other neighborhoods, the suburban neighborhoods, and you know what I'm talking about, and start building and start buying and purchasing things like that, again, we're putting it back into their economy, and we put ourselves back in the same situation we left out of. The only way we'll be able to survive as a community if we create our own community and create our own wealth. So I hope that there will be a campaign or something within our community to say, let's build our own. So hopefully, that's what I'm hoping that will start. I can't really just speak off the top of my head of what I think we'll do, because again, your individuals will change, we'll morph, we'll end up creating our own, like I said, our own economy. But again, I really, it's real kind of hazy for me right now, somewhat. But I think, like I said, our mindset is changing somewhat, because we know we can't depend upon this system. And because we cannot depend upon the system, our mindset is changing. We got to build wealth within our own communities. So I'm hoping that. Really hoping.
I before during the '60s, before or during the segregation era, we did have Black businesses. We had Black laundromats, Black grocery stores, clothing stores because we were not allowed to cross the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And so we brought money in from the
Mm-hmm.
outside and we spent it on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And the so called Khazarian Jews do that today.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of other uh, groups that come in from the United States who have their own communities, they bring the dollar in. And of course, the theory is to spend the money 7 times in your own community before it goes back out.
Yes.
That's what I would like to see if reparations came on the table. I would like to see communities being built, not tear down those communities, but bringing that dollar back in and did that. Because you remember, that's the way Wall Street was. I believe it was in Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was yeah, it was in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Right. And
Yeah.
it was a vibrant black city, community. There was hotels, there was transportation, there was schools, there was grocery stores, there was distributing stores, all of that. And it was very successful and it was going good. And they called it the Black Wall Street.
Hmm.
I don't know if we right now, in light of, are prepared to go down that road and say, can we be disciplined enough? Can we say, I'm not going to go to Walmart. I'm not taking my money to Target. I'm not taking my money to Best Buy. I'm not going to go buy a Mercedes. I'm not going to go buy a house. I'm not going to buy any of that stuff. I'm not going to go on a shopping spree. I want to be mindful with this money. Maybe people can pull things together. Maybe families can pull things together and say, let's buy land, let's buy property, let's buy things where we can create our own. If it was to happen, and if we did that, then I think we could be successful.
Correct.
What
Correct.
fears me in reparations now is, would we settle without a plan? Because sometimes I look at it from a selfish standpoint. I say, I got $60,000 in student loans. I say, wipe away my student loan, I'd be happy. But that's
Hmm.
selfish. And I say,
Yeah.
everybody that has a mortgage, wipe away half the mortgage up to a certain amount. So these are selfish things. And I just hope that we wouldn't be selfish, that we say, okay, let's take this money, let's pool it together, let's have a community, because we could have a community. And we could, I think that with the right direction, with reparation as a subject on the table, I think it's good to have these discussions to see, where are we really? Where are
Yeah.
we really? You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I don't, and my biggest thing is this. When you think about these communities, these thriving communities in the 50s, you had Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, in Memphis, Tennessee, what we consider to be Bill Street. Before it became the music Bill Street, it was stores and shops owned by the black community that was destroyed by the white community. The first thing I really think that we should do, I don't think with this wealth we could stay here, because if we learn from from the past, we know every single time we restore and build within this country, they tear it down. If before they're jealous or they don't want to see us thrive, I think the first thing that needs to happen, we would have to leave here. And let's be real, because they being here, you will never get the opportunity to grow and thrive and develop, because again, once we grow, they'll tear it down. They did that with a multitude of communities, because I think it's Tulsa, and then I think it was Greenwood. They also tore, it was multiple communities.
Wildwood up in here in
Rose,
Florida.
yes, they've done this consistently. So I don't, they will never leave us alone. And we have to be real with that. I think it would be more so better if we left. You think about this, Africa right now has the year of the Great Return. And Africa has this initiative where they're trying to bring back every everybody who are descendants of slaves, and they want to give us land, they want to do this and want to do that, and I would say that would be the first plan one. Let's get up out of here, because being here again based off past histories, we cannot sustain, we can't, we every time we build they tear down, and it's forever showing in history that that's how they're going to treat us. You're talking, I'm a child that came from a product of black families that own property. In my city, it was, we had a very large thriving black wealthy community, and as time progressed these communities fell apart once they introduced integration, because no one really wanted to go to our stores anymore or use our hotels and our rooming houses, because guess what, I can go live and stay in whatever rooming house or area I want to live in now because of integration. I think we would have to separate ourselves to be able to grow and develop, because they won't leave us alone, and that's just being real. Right now everybody's singing kumbaya and they love us with all their heart, they want to see us in a happy place, but the moment we get happy they get mad and they react and they destroy. And they've done that. At Tulsa was so sad, how they did those people. They made it at one time, they taught us in history, they never told us who did it. And when we found out that it was something that the government did, it was a wake up call for everybody. So I think in one case, the Most High is revealing to us, if you stay here, realize that you're going to have to deal with the things that they've dealt with in the past. I think this is a time that if they do give us reparation, it's time for us to go. And that's my
Wow.
opinion.
Wow. Um, when I'm looking at the monitor, if you talk a little bit more into your microphone, nobody's complaining, but I'm just looking at the
Okay.
module on it. Let me see. Rashad has no reparations, really. The Most High already told us He has to redeem us. Come on, people. Wow. Well, Rashad, we we understand that. We understand that, and we know that reparations, I think, is just a conversation on the table. The purpose of having this discussion is for us to really think that what would people do? Because in reality, in what Sister E is saying, we've had communities before. We had Wall Street. We had Wildwood. Uh, Before the civil rights movement, we had communities because of segregation that they were vibrant. Some reason, somehow, whatever the case is, because we did not have a plan. And I really think we did not have a plan. We
Yeah.
never thought, because wait a minute, I want to go to Woolworths and eat, and I can't go to Woolworths and eat. I can't go over across the tracks and eat. When we got that, I don't think that we ever thought about the aftermath and the impact of what would happen to our businesses. And I think that if we had a plan, then maybe today we would have, of course, we would have still been in bondage. Of course, we would have still been in the predicament that we were in now. But certainly, we would have a whole lot more businesses. Because what
Correct.
is happening
Yeah.
now, whenever somebody comes to this country, they open up a business in our community. And
Yes.
we could have more businesses. We could be a lot more successful because we have a lot of black businesses. There's even black banks here in South Florida. But it would be a lot more, although we would still be under the curses. And I understand that, we understand the scriptures, but we still, it's a conversation that we need to think about. Because if we return back to the Most High tomorrow, Sister E, and the Almighty gives us favor,
Hmm.
we could be biblically educated, but not financially educated.
Correct.
and a
Correct.
fool in their money will still depart. So we just biblically educated, but when money comes into our hands, because we don't have these discussions, the money goes right out.
Correct. Correct. And the interesting part is, and I saw his comment, it says that the second Exodus will be greater than the first. And you got to think about it. When the children of Israel left Egypt, they left with gold, they left with everything that they had, they left plus with whatever Pharaoh let them leave with, and they left with something. I don't really think that the Most High will let us leave and leave with nothing. I really believe that the Most High, in His wisdom, would ensure that we had what we needed to sustain us. Now, the issue with us, well, as a community, that I notice is we expect the worst but don't plan for the best at times, where we plan for the worst and expect the best. I say that we need to plan either or. We don't know how to plan either or, if it goes bad or if it goes good. I think planning won't hurt us. I think talking about this won't hurt us, so that when we do get it, it doesn't catch us off guard and we're not prepared. As a people, we tend to move based off of emotion. It's time out for that. It's time for us to be strategic. Now, if they don't give it to us, that's fine. We got a plan B. But we always need to make sure that we're planning and being aware of our surroundings, so that we won't fall into the same traps as our ancestors. And I'm not necessarily saying the ancestors over in the Bible. I'm talking about ancestors just here 40 and 50 years ago. We can't allow ourselves to fall back into that trap, because even though they planned and they strategically built communities where they did not have to depend upon the outside world, they were not prepared for what the outside world would do to them because of their jealousy. And that's why we're in the situation we are now. The black communities and the black businesses are a thing, like they were in the 50s, are a thing of the past. We don't have that anymore.
Right.
And that's one thing that we should learn, that if they give it, we need to go. Because based off, again, past history, we got to learn from our past. If we build something here, they're going to destroy it. So it's nothing wrong with planning.
Well, let me ask you this, because and here's planning. You know 100 people, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You know 200 people?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm just talking about with my lies. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
here's my thing. A lot of people got a stimulus check
Mm-hmm.
up to $2,000. I know 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
I could have, if prepared, went to those 100 people and said, listen, we got about $200,000. You know what we need to do? Let's pool our money together and let's go down here and buy some of these foreclosed houses, or these houses that are boarded up. Let's go buy them. Let's buy one, and then let's fix it up, buy another one, and let's get a loan on that property. Because, you know, when you fix it up, you can go and get a mortgage on it because it's fixed up now. And let's take that money and let's just keep going. Let's just keep going and buy property. Yeah, are we in bondage? Yeah. Are we still being oppressed? Yeah. But at the same time, the book of Kings says, Solomon says, if we pray to the Most High and repent of our sins, we would have compassion in the land of captivity. You follow me with what I'm saying? So let's say the government says, and they very well could. I'm telling you, with Donald Trump, would nothing surprise me. He could say, you know what? Every working adult that's African American, we're going to give you. This is what we're going to do right now. We're going to take. You can take away your student loans, and it's not going to change what they do or what they think. But it's a political thing, because right now they're just making money. I think that if we start to think about having a plan, that's what could happen. Because you said something to me earlier today before we move on to our next important subject. You said, without a plan, Pastor Johnson, we can get money, and it could be a plot where he can say to the corporations and all of those that supported him and say, listen, I can't give you all money. I just can't give American Airlines, I can't give you money. I can't just give you money big box. But I tell you what, I got a plan. I'm
Yep.
going to give reparations and I'm going to do it quickly and everybody's going to be happy and they're going to go shopping.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you're going to get the money and that money is going to boost the economy.
Mm-hmm.
As far fetched as that may sound, you all that are listening in here, as far fetched as that may sound, I want you to think about something that the late president, not the late, the previous president, Barack Obama did. He wanted to stimulate the economy. He took the money, put it in our hands, and what did we
Mm-hmm.
do? We went shopping. And
Correct.
what did it do? It stimulated the economy.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So if we're not careful, if we don't, even if it doesn't work, we need to start thinking about making things better for us now. So to start thinking, hey, wait a minute. Do I know 100 people that's going to get income tax check of $3,000? That's $300,000.
Yep.
Could we go buy a property and pull it together and create could we create something that we do this and increase our overall income? Could we do it if we had that mindset? Yes. And if we went to Africa tomorrow, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I had talked with Aguate Amwa, and he is from the Dahomey. He's from the Limbo or the Dahomey tribe in Africa, one of the Hebrew tribes. And he was telling me, he showed me his parents' home. It was a beautiful mansion. It looked like an office building. Something like 10 bedrooms with 10 full baths and all of this. I mean, the yard, everything. And he says, what do you think that costs? And I says, I don't know. He says, guess. And I told him, I don't know, 250, 300,000 US dollars. And he laughed. And he says, how about 55,000 US dollars? I said, man, get out of here. He says, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. And when I looked at this home, I said, Aguate, I could just leave now and go buy a mansion. He said, oh, absolutely. He says, I live here and I send money back home. He works in Las Vegas, and he was just telling me. He says I'm building a school. I'm building a refuge center, and he says that's what I do with my money, and I do that. So if we went to Africa, in which we could right now today, and do very well, are we mentally prepared to handle that? Could we do it? My answer is yes. But are
Yeah.
we thinking along those lines? Do you follow me what I'm saying?
And I think we are as a people, because you got to think about it. Our generation understands wealth because we've had access to the system. I was listening to Dr. Africana Cambero. I always mess her name up. Um, she I can't pronounce it. I know it's Dr. Africana, and watch a lot. And she brought up a great point. She said it's not just if we, because they have this whole big thing of come back to Africa. They want us to come back, and they're looking for us to come back. But her thing was it's not just from a monetary gain, but it's also from a mindset gain. We have been in this country for so long that we have that, I don't want to say colonized mindset, but we understand how a system works. We can use that mindset that we've learned here and bring it there and grow and develop Africa, because we look at things differently now because we have access. We've been in these environments. We have been political officials. We've been CEOs now. We have that exposure. We could take that mindset and take it there, because it's not just the money that's going to help Africa. It's going to be the skill set and the knowledge. Because the first thing we will call out is you're going to have to do something about China, because we got to realize China still has their hand in Africa right now, and the rest of the
Absolutely.
country. It would have to be a thing of when we come, we have to make sure that we push them out the way to be able to help Africa grow and develop. Because you got to realize colonizers got their hand in everything. And as long as they got their hand in it, they're still going to reap from it and still have a level of control. But yet and still, it have to be a conversation to say, what are we going to do about these colonizers? How are we going to push them out, and not just push them out for us to take control, but push them out so that we can help that community and ourselves grow as a people? Because again, it's cheap to live there, but what if we move there and then China hikes up all the prices?
Yes. Yes.
Colonizers hike up all the prices because they know we're there. We have to look at it from a strategic standpoint. We just can't run over there all of a sudden with all this money and don't expect that the people who have their hand in the pot is not going to cause problems. We have to buy these natural resources. We would have to slowly but surely move in there and begin to gain control of what's over there, to be able to gain control of this of the far as the cost of living over there.
Right.
Because honestly, we got to look at it like this. And Tay, you said this when I was on their panel last week. We got to turn that paper money into minerals. We have to turn that paper money into gold and diamonds. Because when we look at it, it's just paper money. It's just paper.
It's just paper.
And
right.
if they crash that dollar, and let's say we all get $300,000, and that dollar tanks overnight, that $300,000 can turn into $10,000 overnight. The only thing that would sustain us is to take that money and transfer it into wealth. Transferring that into wealth is to buy resources, buy minerals, buy land over there. Ensure that if we get monetary control of that area, there's nothing that China and the rest of them can do. Because how China came in, they came in helping them build infrastructure. That's how they gain control. It would have to be and I'm not saying I have the answers, but we would have enough people in our community to collectively come together to say, and not just our community, but their community as well. Because we don't want them to feel as if we're coming over there and we're no better than the colonizers. We have to understand that we all have to come together and grow and develop that land together and become one unit. Because if we don't, we're going to have a problem.
Absolutely, absolutely. Don't you all go anywhere. We're going to share some information with you with our phone app. We're going to be back with Sister E, and we're going to be talking about what's going on in the streets. Is this a change opportunity? Stay here, and we'll be right back. We have Sister E with us tonight, who is our special guest. Sister E, thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to be with us tonight. Let's switch the tone a little bit. Ahmad Arbery, Brianna up in Louisville, Eric Gardner up in New York. Now we have Brother Boyd in Minneapolis, and the list goes on and on. There's so many so many. What do you think is going to come up out of this? Do you think that something is going to change? And what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the fact that this is not just a Black Lives Matter movement where you just only see us out there. We see a lot of younger generation Caucasian people that's in with the movement, that's marching, that's fighting the police, pushing and shoving. It's just as many as them looting as us, but let's take the looting out. Let's just take the demonstrating, the kneeling, the hands up. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. The walking, the demonstrating. This is a mixed ethnic group. Do you see anything coming up out of this time?
I do. I really do. I'm praying that it does. One
A
thing.
little bit closer with your microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
hear me
yeah,
better?
yeah.
Okay. So I pray that it does. I can't speak to say if it is, but I pray and I feel in my heart something is changing. One thing we know about this country is they do not like to look bad in front of the rest of the countries. Think about during the 60s when Emmett Till, when they showed the world what white supremacy did to Emmett Till, is when we actively start seeing people move because they don't like to look bad in front of the other countries. They don't want people to know what's going on inside of our house. So ultimately, this is another situation. This is a second Emmett Till. They're now seeing the hand of white supremacy, and it looks bad on them. Now, if something happens, I believe in my heart that something's happening, and I pray that something's happening, because right now we're in a place that the face of white supremacy has shown, and we're trying to, and we already have a president that has created so much division with other countries that they already don't have any respect for them. So what I'm seeing is something is happening, because if you notice in the news, the UN just made an announcement last week, or I think it was earlier this week, that they want to look into what the U.S. is doing as far as police beating up black men or black people in general. So from a world stage, the U.S. looks bad. And if the UN steps in, it's going to be a whole nother set of conversations. So I think this is a little different. It is different from what happened with Trayvon and the rest of them. I think now the world actually see what happened. They got to see how he died. They got to see how he went through pain. Unlike in other cases, it was just something in the news. They saw, Trayvon, the incident with Trayvon Martin. It was a news report that they saw. The world physically saw this man put his knee on this young man's neck and choke him to death. They actually saw a lynching when you look at it.
Live.
It was a lynching.
It was a lynching in the hands of police. The look on these guys' face was, and I was caught off guard. I wish I was never caught off guard when I got to view it, because what happened was somebody sent it to me and just said, check this out. And I wasn't expecting to see a guy die before my very eyes. I wasn't expecting that. What I was expecting was maybe the police held him down too long or all like this. When I saw the breath leave this guy,
yes,
I said, is this for real? And I didn't see it till Wednesday night because I just don't watch news. I live underneath the rock, working, channel, teach, all that stuff. But I did not sleep Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. I finally started to sleep on Sunday, and I went to bed early. And then I looked and I said to myself, I see something different. I see, because I'm a pattern history guy. I look at the things the way it happened in the past, And I say, if something happened then it's possible it can happen now. In the 60s, after Martin Luther King was assassinated, then you had everybody jump in on the movement. And like you said, we look bad before the entire world.
We
This
really did.
time, we look bad again before the entire world. And like in the days of Martin Luther King during his assassination, everybody in the world jumped in on it. It was
Correct.
then we saw a policy change.
Yep, yep, you're right.
I just
And the big
don't
thing,
know I'm trying to imagine what would be the policy change.
and that's it. That's something I don't think none of us can answer right now. You know, we right now all of us are kind of looking just like everyone else, because you got to think about every incident that we've seen. We didn't have the other factors that kicked in. They have a lot of external factors that are playing into this as well. You got a whole country over here, like I said, Africa, who's saying, come back to Africa. We see this big move for Africa. We see this big thing of culture. We're big on culture now. Our culture, if it be the Kemetic culture, if it be the Israelite community, if it even be the woke church culture, it's a whole new thing of us trying to find our own culture and us trying to divide from them because we're looking for ourselves. So you have that going on. Then you have a situation where everybody has already been in the house already. We everybody got a chance to see that happen when their lives had totally stopped. So when your life stops and you don't have excess noise, you can take that information in a little bit better. So you have a lot of things going on at one time, that when this happened, it was almost like the straw that broke the camel's back. It was like everybody's like, enough is enough. You know, we've seen this happen numerous times, because we got to keep in mind, this isn't the first time we've seen someone die on camera. What's the guy's name that died? They got shot in the car, and his girlfriend was in the car with him.
Yes,
Uh,
I think it was up in Cincinnati, or
yes,
maybe in the Carolinas. Yes, yes.
the world saw that, but at that time, it wasn't that many factors going on at that time. It was just that incident. Now, so many things have happened. Plus, we got all these external factors going on. Not to mention, we have a racist president in office. It's like I said, the straw has pretty much broke the camel's back. We're done, and it's now everybody is tired in our community, and that's something I'm hearing with even the Israelite community, the Kemetic community, the Wolf Church community. Everybody is saying the same thing. We're tired. We all might fight against each other one way or another and argue amongst each other. But one thing we all are saying together is we're tired. We're
We're
sick of
tired,
this.
right?
And that's where, when you get to a point where everybody is saying that we're tired, you're going to see a change and you're going to see a move. I really believe that there is a move happening. Not to mention, there are other individuals that are dying right now that the press won't even let us see. Do you know that there's a man in Louisville? I forgot the guy's name. He was feeding the police officers, black guy in Louisville, Kentucky, and I guess they saw him, and some of the police officers saw him from afar and thought he was a threat, and they shot and killed this man. He had no
Wow.
weapon, he was unarmed in Louisville. Then they said it was another incident where two young men had been killed inside of this bar. I forgot what city it was. So it's still little things that's going on, and the press is concealing it because they know if they get a hold to more information, it's going to add more fuel to the fire. And I think we're at, like I said, we're at a point where we're just tired. We're over it. And I think this is what's going to make change happen. Because and if you look at how we're moving now, even as a community, when we have these protests, we're trying to do it as nonviolent as possible. And the ones that are the agitators, we're calling them out. I've never seen that. I've never seen that where they're calling out the agitators, because they're saying they want us to hear it. They want to be heard.
Right.
And we want to be heard.
And I think the police are calling each other out now. I did this again, so y'all give me just 1 minute. Whenever you do this stuff, and I'm getting used to this software, so y'all gotta just give me a moment here. I'm gonna get it right.
And Cheryl said something right here. She said that um, Bible prophecy is being played out right in front of us, and I believe that as well. I believe that this is very prophetic, and I think this is people say that the hand of their orchestrating this. I don't think that they can orchestrate all they want, but God has put something in us again to make us tired. Because of that, we're going to see God move more. We're becoming more mindful of the fact of, this ain't right. We got to figure out a way, and then all of it, because you got to look at it's a lot of things going on. You got, like I said, you got the economy is crashing. Let's call that out. They ain't telling you this, but the economy is somewhat crashing. You got this COVID-19. And they're ultimately trying to blame it on us and say that we are the multitude that has it, but I don't think those numbers are correct either, based off of the demographics. Then you have the incident with Arbery, Breonna. Then you have George Floyd. Then you have, it's like so many things that are going on right now. God is getting us to a place where we're just like, I'm tired. I need to go. And when you look at the Bible, the children of Israel were like that in Egypt. They got to a point where they were done. They were done, and they cried out to the Most High God, and through Moses they were able to lead through the first Exodus. I think that's where we are now. Now, is it going to get worse? I really think it may get worse, but sometimes you got to turn up the heat to make people just say enough is enough. It's time to go. Because if everything was all good and life was good, we ain't gonna make no moves. We at peace. I think God is putting enough fire behind us to make us just say enough is enough. Because I've never seen this many things happening all at one time.
All at one time.
Yes.
And that's what I'm looking at. And I'm saying these are the policies that's going to change. Here's what I would like to see change. Because the whole subject of reparations came up, Sister E, was because people started to recognize there are systemic issues, meaning the system, that has an adverse impact on us. And it goes from our credit, the approval process, it goes to jobs, it goes to the hourly rate and what we get paid, the lack of opportunities that we have. So these are some things I would like to see. I don't think reparations is going to come. It would be nice. And we always have to think in the mindset of what if it did. But the policies is what I want to talk about on this segment that I would like to see change, because I believe there's going to be a change. And I'm basing that off of history. Whenever America is embarrassed on a national level like we are now, and all of the other ethnic groups have jumped in and are protesting that the way they are, policies change. I would like to see the fact that right now in Miami, let me tell you what's happening. There's an area, and it happened in D.C. It happened in Washington, D.C. over the past few years. Washington, D.C. used to be 80% minorities. Then it went to 60%. Now I think it's under 50%. And the property was taken down so low. The banks rated it so low. And now the property value is high. So why? Because the faces in the community change? You follow me what I'm saying? Those type of policies have to change. That just because it's labeled a black community and the homes are there, and you can go to another community that is not majority black, and the houses are 30-40% higher in value. Who's making that decision? Those are the policies we need to change, because who can make that decision that this house, because it's on that side of the railroad tracks, and the other one is the same community, perhaps built by the same builder in the same time frame, but those houses are 30% higher. Those policies have to change.
They'll never change, and we got to be at peace with them. We're asking for a system that was never designed for us to be prosperous and to be successful, to all of a sudden make a 360, and they're not going to make that 360. That's why I really believe that we need to be in the mindset of we're going to have to leave. If because you mentioned that you don't think that we are. I think that we are. If we don't, either or, we know the Most High has control,
Right.
regardless if we have it or we don't have it. But I know one thing, that whatever the rubber meets the road, there's going to have to be a time that we're going to have to leave. Because honestly, in this country, the system itself, when you look at the Constitution, when you look at the policies, even by state, it's never been designed for us to be successful. So there's not enough policies to change white supremacy. White supremacy is a mindset that goes beyond a policy. Because even within those policies, there's a level of white supremacy in there to say, my people are going to be first, y'all going to be last. There has to be a place where we can start over, reset, and we have an equal fighting ground to grow and develop as a community. Here, we could never do it. In my heart, like I said, there's not a policy that this country can create that can make us successful, because it was never designed for us to be successful. So.
I do know of a few families about 20 years ago. They left the United States and went to Zimbabwe, and had retired. They were retirees, and they actually bought property, still own it today. But because of the way the American dollar is, they have property where families who are in the area actually work there. They're laborers. They take care of the property, the farming, and they can afford to pay them and live very comfortable in Zimbabwe. What happened was a different president came in and went in, and after a lot of foreigners were buying farms, and although it was good for the economy, when this particular person got in office, they said, you know what? We're taking the land from all you foreigners that came over here and bought land. We're taking it because you came over and took our land. You bought it because we were in a bad position. And actually, they had their land taken. Well, at least, let me say this, the Caucasian people did. He didn't, because there are African natives living in the property, on the property, and it's not really clear that the government recognizes the fact that the people there are actually natives. So they kind of didn't bother it. That's the way I understood the story. But it's just like in South Africa. They went over and they says, we're taking all of the land. We're taking all of the land, and all of you farmers. And of course, Trump said something about it. You can't take these people's farms. They've been here for 30, 40 years. That's one thing that concerns me. If I was to take my money to Africa and say, let me go right now, is the government, and I don't know, I only go by what I'm reading, is the government that stable to not belly up that way? That would be my concern.
And you have a legitimate concern, but you got to also look at too, that country is just as tired as us. Again, you got another piece to the puzzle that may help far as the big picture. You'll see the big picture. That Africa is just as tired as colonization as we are. You have this movement with Julius Malema. You have the movement with, like I said, Dr. Africana. You have all these individuals. They're tired they're tired of colonization as us. I think if we made that exodus and went back to Africa, I think both parties, both sides of the table, if it be the indigenous African and the descendant of slave, which we are considered to be a part of that land. I think both of us are so tired that we would universally come together and say, let's work together. Then you got to look at another piece to the puzzle. At one time, these countries, when you think of the Berlin 1885 conference, all the countries came together to conspire, to work together to take Africa and make it theirs and pull from the resources there. Now you got a situation where these same countries that were all unified, when you think of the EU and all of them, they're now falling apart by the seams. The EU has fell apart, and we're watching it fall apart.
Correct.
You see other countries battling it out with each other, whereas the AU now is saying we can no longer function as individual countries. We got to unify and come together. Because the biggest problem with Africa is they're so divided as being, if I want to go, let's say I want to go I live in Kenya, but I want to go to Zimbabwe. I have to get permission to go into that country. They're not unified. But now the AU is trying to collectively come together to call themselves, I said, the United States of Africa. I heard that. With them unifying and us coming over there, I think that's everything that's good that can work together to make us build and grow together as a community. It's a lot of things that's going on right now that some people they don't have visibility of. But again, the very nations that conspire to take Africa are now fighting each other.
Right, right.
They're not fighting each other.
You all forgive me. I don't know what I did again, but don't worry. I got it.
And I noticed G-Con in there. He said, yeah, they're greedy. They are greedy. They're greedy, and their greed has now caused them to war with each other. The EU, the funniest thing I've ever seen is, have you ever seen the Parliament when they have those live broadcasts and you see what's going on in the courtroom?
Yes.
It's hilarious how they do things. But now it's not funny anymore. They're literally ready to fight each other.
Correct.
Doing those court proceedings when they're talking about governmental issues. They're ready to fight each other in the middle of the floor. And because of that, their greed and the fact that they're turning on each other, Africa is saying, wait a minute, let's figure out what we need to do so that we can be able to build and unify and become one. So
correct.
It's a lot of little factors I'm looking at right now.
Now, let me ask you this, because this is what we see taking place right now, and you all, I apologize for that again. I'm managing everything here by myself, and what happened is that when I inadvertently touch something, I kind of mess it up. So forgive me on that. I'm going to get it straightened back up in just 1 second. But we're going to keep this conversation going. So here's my question, and I understand that. I understand that Africa, I'm afraid. I personally, I don't have that much confidence in Africa. However, I will tell you this. I will share this with you. There are a lot of people who are really right now making Africa look really good. I know some people that have already gone, and they are doing very well in Africa right now. The economy is looking good in the areas. I think it's in Ghana. It's the government is very stable, and there are groups. I'm talking about retirees that I know. There's a young man on my job. He's going to Africa. He's in a position of retirement, and he's getting ready to go in a few weeks. He's not waiting till COVID's over. He's getting ready to go in a few weeks. He's already scheduled for vacation. He's already had his airline ticket. They gave him the clearance. He's gone. He's gone in, at the end of June, going into July. And he's going over there to look at that purpose. He's done a lot of research. He's moving into the city part. And there's a new development over there that's near the airport, and he's going over there and he's going to go purchase. And I think it's awesome. I think it's great. And I'm looking at the information that he's going to bring back because I think it's certainly worth looking at. My question was to him, of course, over the past few weeks, he says, this is why I'm out of here. Because of things like, Floyd, Gardner, Arbery, Brianna, I'm out, so I'm out of here. He says, I'm tired of dealing with this. And I can certainly understand that frustration. And I asked him, are you selling your home here? He says, not initially. I'm going to go over there. I want to hang out for 5 years. I want to get a place. I want to see how things are going to go before I actually sell my home. But after 5 years, if things are going well, I'm there. If not, I'm coming back. And I think that's something to look at because I'm like this, whether the Almighty comes, if you're in the United States, the Almighty comes with you in Africa. Either way it goes, no matter where you live at, what's economically and socially best for you, there's nothing wrong if you decide to go. You're not going against the scriptures if you say, you know what, I'm going to Africa. There was a group that left in the 60s, they left Chicago and went over to Israel. They still living there today. Now, knowing what the Bible says is going to happen in Israel, I would not have went to Israel. I would certainly went to Africa, but I can understand if Africa is better for you, if you think it's a better social climate, have at it. I think you should go where you think that you can be more successful and have more peace. Are we going to ever have peace in America? Will we have peace in Africa? I don't. These are things that we need to talk about. I will say this. If you are in the will of the Most High, I don't care where you are on earth. The scripture says that he will put a hedge up around you. So you can go to Russia to live. If you are doing the will of the Most High, he will put a hedge around you. But remember the scripture says, when he returns, I will gather you one by one from the land where you have been scattered. So wherever you are, the Almighty is going to grab us, take us, however we perceive it. We have to be ready and we got to be in his will because you cannot go anywhere unless you're in the will of the Most High. If you're not in his will, you don't have his protection, you don't have that hedge, you are going to be into some trouble, some very, very big trouble. Sister E, don't go anywhere. Don't you all go anywhere. We want to let you know who we have with us tonight. We're going to share some more information. We'll be right back. We are here with Sister E, all the way from Tennessee. A wonderful channel she has. Look at her up on YouTube. It's Let's Talk with Sister E. So, Sister E, let's talk about police reform. Police reform. Certainly, what has happened, I think it's going to reform police. I think in this retrospect, in police departments, there are unions that back these officers. There are policemen Bill of Rights that backs these officers. There are certain protocols in place, contracts, employee contracts that protects these officers. And when you see what the chief did in Minnesota, you're fired. He didn't wait. It was like, you're fired. No leave of absence, no leave of absence with pay pending an investigation. Straight up termination. You're done. See you later. Leave your gun and leave your badge. And they sent this guy home. Now, in Fort Lauderdale, there was a case that happened a few days ago where an officer pushed a lady, African American, that was, I always like to say a Hebrew, that was on the ground, hands up. There was another issue that he was in the crowd with. He rushes through, grabs her on the head, and throws her to the side. And a officer grabbed him and pushed him and says, "What are you doing?" Well, he was immediately suspended with pay pending criminal investigation. He's going to be at home with pay. It's going to take months. I'm talking about at least up to 12 months before that investigation starts to get completely underway. And then the outcome, it could, by that time, it's over. Okay, come on back. We're going to reprimand you, because it's like out of sight, out of mind. But I still think police reform has to come, because we saw what happened in Atlanta. That was caught on TV. I think at minimum, these chiefs of police and these sheriffs are saying, we're not doing that no more. And I think other officers, if they don't charge these other 3 officers, which they should, you need to hold everybody that's around watching accountable. So at minimum, I do think that we're going to see that level of reform where the laws are going to change, where you can at least hold other people accountable. Because in Eric Gardner case, it took 5 years before the mother could have that officer fired. Do you see that continuing? Do you see some reform? What is those in your subscribers? What is the tone there?
How can you reform something that is already broken? When you look at the system of policing here in the U.S., it was created, I think, 1704 in the Carolinas. That system was created to protect the wealth of the white class as it pertains to the slaves. So when you look at that system, how are we going to reform something when it was already designed to ensure to keep us in line? It was never just designed for the sake of policing everybody. The ultimate goal for the police back then in the 1700s was to maintain a sense of order for the upper white class when it came to their economic standing, when it came to the slaves, because it started in the Carolinas in 1704. Mm-hmm. So how are we going to reform a system when it was created under white supremacy? That system is not going to change. Again, I'm going to go back. I don't think there's a policy in the world that can reform a system when it was created under white supremacy. This country was created by our forefathers. Our forefathers had slaves. We were never a part of the Constitution. Mm-hmm. We were never a part of those policies. We were never a part of when they had police, when they created the policing system. It was never designed to protect us, but it was designed to keep us in captivity. So how are we going to reform? I don't think we can reform this system. This country's live and die and created off of white supremacy. Wall Street was designed based off of slaves. In fact, and I showed that yesterday, Wall Street was built over a slave grave site. They got a few bodies out, but Wall Street, they didn't care enough and have enough to honor our people when they died. They didn't leave that grave site there. They uprooted it and built Wall Street on top of it. So when you got a system created centered around white supremacy, this country made their money off of us. If it was not for our free labor, the United States would not have the wealth that they have. So how are we going to build and rebuild and reform something that was never designed for us? It's going to have to be an exodus. Now, I know that in the African countries that there are leaders that they consider to be a little unethical, but I'd rather take my chances there than here. Because again, I was never designed to be a part of this system. I happened to get a way in, but even still, I'm not a part of this system. That we have a better chance creating our own than trying to live by this system and try to reform it. We can't reform it. That's what the United States is based off of. The blood, sweat, and tears of it was our ancestors that built this. The blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors made this country what it is now.
Wow.
Now everybody loves to say, well, what about the immigrants that came over? When you look at it, the immigrants benefited off of the labor of our ancestors. We never had a chance. So again, when we talk about reforming the policing system, how can we reform something when it was created to keep us in line? It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
And you know, this is how I feel about the political atmosphere right now. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he says, he says, Stephen, I'm removing myself from the Democratic Party because I don't trust them. I believe that they've taken my vote for granted. I'm not voting Republican. I'm not going to be a Democrat because the system is not for us. So no matter how we vote, we got a group that tells you or their policies is not for us, and then we got a democratic process that says that they're for us, but there's neither policy out there that's out there for us. Now, right away, you and I and many of us in our community, we know that we're under curses, right? We're under curses. And being under these curses, there's an expectation. However, there is a caveat that I will give you favor among your enemies. And I strongly believe that. I believe that we can get favor because the scripture says, I'm going to put you into captivity and no man will redeem you. Nobody will redeem you. So who is our Redeemer? I think that the Messiah, when he returns, he's going to redeem us. Now, at what point would that be? You know, and I think that when we look at the, are you still there with us? Okay, sister, she's fixing something right now.
I'm sorry, my daughter is watching something. She started screaming in the background.
We can't hear it. We can't hear it.
Okay.
So when we look at the scriptures, and that's what I go by. I have to go by the scriptures. And when the scripture says that when he returns, he's going to grab us. But in the meantime, I think that we could look and seek reprieve, whether it's here, whether it's in Africa, wherever it is. I think our reprieve is based upon where we are with the Most High. So do I think policies are going to change if you're here? I think some policies are going to change. However, I think until we start to change our mindset, it doesn't make any difference. I mean, unless we start to return back to the Most High and start keeping his laws, statutes, his judgments, his ordinances, and we come out from among the Babylonian thinking of this world, until that happens, no matter what we're given, we're still going to be limited based upon where our spiritual walk is. Where is our spiritual perception? Is it in the right place? And if it's not, it's going to be the same input. It's going to be the same outcome. That's my viewpoint on it.
Now, even if you look at it from a scriptural standpoint of prophecy, there is supposed to be an exodus. If you look at Isaiah 13:14, it says that like a hunted gazelle, like sheep without a shepherd, they will all return to their own people. They will flee to their native lands. So when you look at Isaiah 13:14, before everything happens, I believe that there will be a flee and a mass exodus where people are going to have to flee and go to their own lands. And that's when we're going to really see the hand of the Most High God move. Is this something that I'm saying that I'm prophesying? No, I'm just saying this is my opinion, just based off of Isaiah 13:14. there is going to be a situation people are going to flee and go to their own house. So I really believe that there will still be an exodus. There has to be an exodus. I mean, when you look at,
You know, I really believe that Exodus, when we look at the wilderness, well, here's where I'm at. I believe that Israel is a microcosm of what's going to happen in the future, because the scriptures talk about a tribulation. And according to Daniel, the 7th chapter, there's going to be a tribulation. And during that tribulation, the scripture says in Matthew, and immediately after that tribulation, because a lot of people are still looking at this rapture doctrine that they need to look a lot more closer at, because you're not going to be raptured. That's.
yeah.
But we need to look at this fleeing. Is it in the wilderness? The synchronization of it, and this is where we have to get a little bit more in the scriptures and have a little bit more discussion on, so that we can rightly divide the word of truth. But in the meantime, until that happens, you go to work, I go to work. We all go to work. We all have money. We can't just say, well, you know what? I don't know what's happening, so I'm just going to spend frivolously. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, so I'm not going to do no investment. I'm not going to college. I'm not going to invest in myself. I'm not going to, because after a while, we'll start thinking, well, what's the use of doing this? Anything can happen at any given time. I tell people this: until the Most High returns, or whatever is going to unfold, keep yourself doing what you need to do. And here's the example that I give to that. The scriptures in one of the parables, he gave one man 5 talents. He gave another man 2 talents. Gave another man 1 talent. He said, take these talents until I return. And then when he returned, the man says, here's the 5 talents that you gave me, and I produced 5 more talents. And he says, absolutely, good and faithful servant. The other guy gave 2, and we know the story. We got down to the one, and the other one said, well, you know, I know that you are a righteous servant. I didn't want to do anything, so I buried it. And here it is. And the parable was, you could have at least taken what I've given you, and you could have invested and got a return on your investment. So this is this is the conversation. These are the things that I want us to look at in doing this, is that whatever is predestined prophetically to unfold, until it unfolds, and I'm saying to Hebrews now, and those of us that are natural spirit, everybody, you should at least make some sort of concerted effort to make things better. Whether you decide, like you, Sister, you have a wonderful channel. I think it's growing. You're not rolling up. I'm not rolling up. We're at least trying to educate people to come inside the truth. We're trying to awaken people. Because if you're not awakened, if you're not into his laws, statutes, judgments, commandments, if you don't return back, then there's a strong possibility, according to the scriptures, that you're definitely not going to be in that resurrection, because you don't fit the criteria. He said, who are these? These are they that have kept my faith. These are they that have kept my commandments. These are they that have washed their robes in the blood of the Lamb. Even going into the kingdom, there's certain criterias and knowledge and information we got to have. So brothers and sisters, irregardless, this is not going to be the last riot. This is not going to be the last pandemic. This is not going to be the last of anything until the Most High returns. But in the meantime, there's certain things we have to put in order to make sure that we are productive. And what are we doing? What are we doing? How are we helping each other? Are we educating each other? Are we helping each other? Are we Is things improving? Are we taking opportunities on our jobs and our communities? Are we changing our community? Because I believe we can do it. We shouldn't just fold up and give up and say there's no hope. I think that we should make things better as best as we can until our changes come. What sayeth you, Sister E, on that?
Now, I will say this much. We go to our jobs every day. Everybody's productive citizens. We do what we're supposed to do. But we also got to have a mindset that this place that we call comfort is about to change. And we see it changing right now before our eyes. Things are changing. We
Yes.
see that, and me and you are different when it comes to, 400-year prophecy. That's something that even in our community, some believe, some don't. But within that, all of us are saying the same thing. Change is coming.
Yes.
We're coming out of this. If you don't believe in the 400, but I do, we still saying the same thing. The Most High is going to save us.
Yes.
The Most High is going to get us out of here. If it be that we're going to have a mass exodus, or he's going to come and pick each and every one of us up and say, you know what, let's go. Ultimately, we all know that something is happening, and the Most High is getting ready to get his people and save them from, and I'm not going to say save them for what's to come, because we still have to experience Jacob's trouble. Things are going to happen. And I really believe I really believe in my heart that Jacob's trouble started 400 years ago.
Yes.
We were put on those slips.
Incidentally, let me just share this with you all. Sister E and I have had a lot of discussion on the 400-year doctrine, and we don't see eye to eye on that. Let this be a lesson to you all. You don't have to see eye to eye into having a understanding that we are the Most High's people. We got to keep his laws, statutes, and judgments. We got to return back to him. And so I just want to let you all see that we have dialogue. I support what Sister E is doing, because her teaching is to wake up people, bring them into the truth. Now, we do know this, that whether it's tied in to be synchronized with the 400 years or whether it's after the tribulation, we both know that we as a people, we have to be in a position prepared spiritually within ourselves to be accepted for whatever that destination timing is. So I bring that up because maybe you all didn't know that we don't see eye to eye on that. But I want you to look at the fact that we can sit down and we can have dialogue. This is what's important, because that's my Hebrew sister. I'm a Hebrew brother. But yet, these are important subjects that we must talk about for the furtherance, education, and elevation of our people, because we are in a predicament. So I just want to lay that out there to you all to see how you conduct yourselves, because there is a common denominator. We know who we are. We know who the God of Israel is. We know where we have to be at, what we got to get back to. And this is what's important. I'm looking over in the chat room. It says it would be a time like no other. It's called, I agree with that. This Jacob trouble, when that happens, brothers and sisters, whether it's during the time of tribulation or however it's going to be, it is going to be horrific. Trust me on that. Matthew says there will be like a time like you have never seen before, like this time or no other time. So you need to make sure that you are prepared. That's what you have to do. You got to get yourself in that. I like showing this. I did this for Sister E. I want to do this because I like it. Right here. I just want to show y'all who we have with us tonight. Don't go anywhere. Sister E, one of the things I want to do is I want to, I want to help you get your channel. So anytime I can do something for you to help you get your channel going, because you have some very good content. Your discussions is very good. It's awesome. It's very productive, and I want to do that for you. So anything that you know that I could do to help you out, please let me know. Even in getting the type of software, if I can do any openings for you, production, anything like that, let me know, because you have a very good channel. The content, your guests, all of that stuff that's on there, because I have Sister E, I got her bell rung. So a lot of times during the week, I can be getting ready to go to bed like I was last night, and I was tired. But my phone went off to let me know Sister E was on, and she had a light. You was probably up to like, what, 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yes. And I'm shocked.
1 o'clock in the morning. And I didn't go to sleep, by the way. I tuned in and I got in the chat room and stuff like that. And I got into the chat room, and it was just, I love the conversation. I love the conversation and what you all were bringing out last night. And the discussion was reparations, because that was on the news. That was on the news. CNN brought a guy in and they talked about the possibility of reparations. And that's why we thought it would be a good discussion to bring on and put on the table tonight. Do I think we're going to get reparations? I'm not falling for it. Would I like to see reparations? I think it would be good. What would I do if there's reparations? Do I think it's going to change our plight according to the scriptures? No. But if we are in the will of the Most High, and if we're living right, I think we could be productive as Hebrews. And whether we're here or whether we move or go someplace else, I think that we could be productive until the Most High returns. I know what I read in the scriptures. If we are in a place of safety, He will protect us. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. So that will happen. And we're better off in His will with the hedge around us than to be on the outside going through what we could be going through. What do you think that we need to do as a group of people individually? Individually, what would you recommend to our viewers that we need to do individually in a time as this spiritually?
And the funny thing is, I gave my link also because some people were saying, how do I get to your channel? And I went straight to this scripture. This is what we can do as a people. 2 Chronicles 7:14, it says, if my people who are called by my name, if my people called by my name shall humble themselves, pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sins, and I will heal their land. That's what we need to do as an individual. We can talk all day about 400-year prophecy. We can talk about reparation. We can talk about all these things. But if we have not followed at least 2 Chronicles 7:14, we're lost as a people. I think we have to do that. That's what we should have. That's what we should do individually.
I like that. Individually, and provide that scripture again. If my people called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray
and seek my face
and listen to this part and do what else?
Turn from their wicked ways.
Listen, you can seek His face, you can humble yourself and pray, but until you turn from your wicked ways, people, this is why the scripture says, Sister E, that many shall say in that day, Lord, we prophesy in your name. Lord, we cast out demons in your name. Lord, we heal the sick in your name. And he says, depart, you workers of iniquity. I don't know you. So in a time like this, and I like what Sister E, what she's saying is that we as individuals, as a people, we need to start turning and seeking the Most High's face about right now. Because unless we do that, you are in a better off position in the land of captivity of being protected by being in his will because you are overshadowed by his wings than not to be, because if I get stopped, you get stopped, at least right now, by being in the will of the Most High, you have some sort of protection.
Favor, yes. Yep.
Than not being in his will.
Yep, and that's key.
And so, when did you come into the truth?
What's so funny is people ask me, when did I come into the truth? It was like a barrage of things that transpired. One, I grew up my whole life. You know that little, you know the picture that everybody has in the Black Christ?
Yes.
Sitting on the stone. I saw that off and on throughout my life. So for whatever reason, when I saw the picture of him, and I know we're not supposed to have images of him, but that's the only image that I saw.
Okay.
You know, I never was really around. I mean, you still saw the white Christ on TV. Everybody watched the Ten Commandments, but I always saw that. So when I actually began, it clicked for me was I came across it, I think in 2011, on a YouTube channel. I want to say it was 2011. I was at home, and this guy was teaching. I can't remember who it was of who we are, but I was so caught up. When you're in a mindset of doing things of the world, things like that won't click with you because you're not connected with the Most High. And at that time, I was doing whatever I wanted to do, so that was oblivious to me. But when I really, really, really started seeking the Most High was in 2015.
2000, what year?
2015.
Okay.
2015, there was a lot going on, and I was looking at things that were transpiring on the news, and I was really hurt for my people. And I said, God, what is it about my people that we just can't get it together? You know, and I even was like, God, do you not love us? My people as a whole, we can't collectively get it together. And I was praying, and it was on TV, and I was looking at something. And I even had started researching the Kemetic doctrine, but it didn't sit well with me because I'm like, I'm going to church every day shouting, and I'm still seeing my people hurt, and it broke my heart. But I love God so much that I would never turn away from him. And I was sitting, and I looked at a YouTube site and it said something about Deuteronomy, and I read Deuteronomy, and when I read it, I said, wow. I said, this speaks to the things that we've gone through. And that's when I actually came into the truth, because I started doing research on that. And what people don't realize, that I was really doing a lot of research, not just to receive it, but also to debunk it. Because I'm the type of person that if I find something, I'm going to try my best to debunk it. If I can't debunk it, that means it's the truth. That's how I function. And I couldn't find anything outside of that that didn't make sense and didn't speak to our people now. And I said, wow, that makes sense. So that's how I came in. I came into the truth. I was actually in my bedroom, watching TV. And I got to a place where I said, I can't debunk this. This is us. And this was in 2015. And from 2015, I've been growing and developing and understanding who we are as a people.
So you were coming from what denomination?
I was full gospel Baptist.
Full gospel.
Yeah.
What was it like? So you came into the knowledge that we're the people. So have you, because I've never asked you this question before, have you fully, since 2015, come into like, because there are groups out there that has come into the knowledge that we are the people, but they haven't, like Pastor Omar, but he still keeps Christmas and Easter. You left all of that.
Yes, I am one of those that I still spend time with my family. Do I believe that those are Catholic holidays and pagan holidays? Yes, I do. But I don't want to put a yoke upon my family's neck. This is something that He revealed upon to me. And if I become um, if I become a yoke for them, it'll be they wouldn't want to receive it. So do I believe that those are the holidays? No, I believe, and now I'm really starting to teach my daughter about the feast days because I'm still learning. And I had to explain to her those are not the holidays that the Most High God gave us. The holidays that He gave us are in the Bible. Those are our holy days. So I'm starting to teach her. But do I uphold it? No. But do I spend time with my family? Yes. I will go spend time and just look at it as a time to just commune with my family. So most people don't agree with me on that one, but hey.
Let me just say to Amberlek Yehuda up in Harlem, New York, be safe up there, my brother. This is the first time I've seen you in the chat room. Be safe up in Harlem, New York. We know that there's a lot going on in New York. Coach, Coach, that's Coach Natisha. How you doing, my sister? She's new into our channel. So let me ask you this. When you came inside the truth, was it a struggle or was it, because some people can see the truth and read it and then just go, you know what, I'm not doing that no more. What was that transition like for you?
Um, I grew up, in the mindset of I can do anything under grace. I can go out here and drink. God forgive me. That was my favorite thing. Jesus died for my sins, and I had gotten into that repetition of misusing and abusing His grace. But what I love about the Most High God that He even protected me in my ignorance. Because when I came into the understanding of who we were, I understood that His grace should not be misused. God gave us laws. God gave us commandments. So it was almost like more so of a spiritual awakening where God had to deal with my heart. And I had to go through the process of healing and deliverance. And see, I still believe in that. There's a process. None of us are going to wake up and say, well, I can
Absolutely.
follow Ten Commandments. No, I have to
Absolutely.
have the Holy Spirit. The Ruach HaKodesh has to dwell with inside me and make a complete change. And and the Most High had to reveal to me at that time. And it was more of an internal battle than an external battle. And when
Wow.
He revealed to me who I was and the lifestyle that I was living, I was headed to death and hell. When He showed me, that broke me down like a fraction. So it was more of a spiritual internal change for me before it became an external thing. I never talked about, I told my family, I believe we were Israel. I told my daughter, but it was never the thing of, I popped on the scene, Sister, yeah, I believe we're the people. No, I believe the Most High God put me in a quiet place and He dealt with me internally. Because, one, I don't ever want to make Him look bad because of my lifestyle. Because if I'm supposed to be a light, it has nothing to do with my identity. It has to do with who I am in Him. And if God had to do an internal change. And I used to follow Pastor Darby, or Pastor Stephen Darby, and I was a heavy follower of him. But that change was an internal change. Am I still struggling with a few things? Yes, but yet it's still I see a big difference in who I was in 2015 to who I am now. So it was more of an internal change before it became an outward thing. I seek the most, and not to say I didn't seek the Most High God before I knew who I was, but when I knew who I was, I understood the mantle that He had given me. And He gave me that mantle, when He revealed to me, the next thing He asked me, He said, if you're going to do this, and if you're going to walk in my will, understand the accountability is great.
Wow. Wow.
And showed me the level of accountability and showed me, I said, wow, I have to change. I don't want to call myself Israel if I'm sitting here and I'm still doing what I'm doing, because I'm a poor representation of who He is. Because people look into me to say Sister E is out here cussing people out and she call herself Israel. I'm no better than most camps. So most time God had to deal with me internally and do an internal change before I could be visible to the people.
Now, when you did that, when you dropped that stuff, because I hear different people. Some people say it was hard. Some people say no. I embraced the feast days. Are you keeping all of the feast days? Have you come into the full knowledge and understanding of all the feast days as of yet?
I'm still learning. I'm
You're
still
still
learning.
learning.
I'm still a
Yeah.
work in progress. I'm working with a couple of the mores, and I'm learning more about the feast days. I'm doing research on the feast days. I did experience Passover for the first time last year.
Oh, awesome.
Um, I have not been consistent with the feast days because I had such a we realize that we have jobs that don't honor the things that we do.
Yeah.
They honor their holidays. I had to work a lot. I was
Mm-hmm,
on a project, and I was like the project manager for a project. We had a big implementation last year, and I had little to no time to be able to take time off. And it was even hard last year to take time off for Passover. It was almost an act of Congress at work for me to do that.
Wow.
But I had made a mental decision to start, participating more in the feast days. I have nowhere to visit really here because the only thing we really have now here is and I'm not going to go to any of the camps. We are heavily saturated with camps here. I was going to go to, I was going to do Passover again, and I was going to do it this year at either at Pastor Kelly's church or assembly, or I was going to even make an effort to come to your assembly to participate, but everything happened with COVID, so everything is pretty much shut down. So I'm still, like I said, learning the feast days, and when I do get more of an opportunity, I would love to do it.
Yeah. Let me say this about the feast days. The feast days I kept pretty much all of my life. I didn't understand them. I did them because my pastor at that level, it was something new that was introduced, put on the table that we should be doing. I am not the Hebrew teacher. Some people practice learning Hebrew and this and that. I am the feast day pastor. That's me. That's my specialty. I know it like the back of my hand. However, I did not get that until I got my awakening. And in 2017, because there was a lot of people in that 2015, 16, I think it was in 2016, when I always suspected, but when I knew, I cried. I cried like a baby. And then I said, I need to know about these feast days because I kept reading that we're the light to the nations. We're supposed to know. And there was a lot of things that I thought I knew about the feast days because we were getting them from the Khazarian Jews. I had to reprogram myself and to learn them why we do them because they are a clock. It's like on a schedule. Once you understand it, oh my God. And the person that really taught me, and it wasn't hard, it was beautiful because the light bulbs came on, was Pastor Bowie from the Israel of God. And he was really he was really an anchor for me because when I came to the reality of who we were, I was looking every place. I was looking at ISUPK. I was looking at really some hardcore people because but it didn't set well with me. You know what I mean? So one day I saw Brother Thin and Brother, he'll get me if I didn't say his name. But anyway, the two brothers from Israel, they were having a debate with this street camp group. And those brothers was just coming off with the feast days and the Sabbath. And I said, I need to find out who those brothers are. I did. again, my mind just boom. And I know the feast days, I put myself up there in the top 3 in the country that knows these feast days. Because there's some brothers out there that are sharp, and I still listen. But I made it my business because I want our people. It's important that we understand the feast days. More important than who we are, but understand what those feast days mean. But I always like to talk to people like you because you're coming from, I came up in the Sabbath, but I like to talk to people like you said, you came from full gospel.
Full gospel Catholic.
Yeah, to me, that transition, because you done that all your life. Keeping the Sabbath and the dietary wasn't new to me as a Sabbatarian, but there's something special about you all that has broken away from the first day doctrine to come over. You're special. You're special. It's like you have pulled that tooth without Novocaine, and you have just gone on. So I'm always intrigued to hear the testimonies of what you all went through. So how did your children adapt to it? What was that like?
I'm gonna go back to the thing with the Sabbath and the feast days, and I'll explain my daughter, because I only have one kiddo. Didn't go any further than that at the time. But with me, before I could get into the feast days and Sabbath and all that, the Most High God knew my heart. He says, if I get her into this repetition, she's not going to make a change. And she's going to be still caught in the things that she's doing, and she really won't be a light. I never really got deep into the culture until here recently. Because again, I was going through a process of a serious heart change, because I came from an environment that as long as you came to church, paid tithes, shout, and fall out on the floor every Sunday, Monday through Saturday, you could raise hell.
Wow.
And then come back to church Sunday and go back into the same routine. And I became into that cycle. It was a repetition for me, a cycle, constant cycle. And before I could get into the cycle of what we do as a people, God had to deal with me as the person. Because he says, I'm not putting you in, I'm not even allowing you to get into the culture, because you're not ready for that. We need to deal with your heart. And when he dealt with my heart and he dealt with my spirit and and got me in right communion with him, is when he said, okay, now you have access to the feast days. You have access to the Sabbath, because regardless of how many feast days I go to, how many Sabbath service I go to, if my heart has not changed and I have not turned to the Most High God, I'm still lost. So now I'm in a place of, I'm excited to learn. And not to say, like I said, I don't have issues. I'm still growing and developing as a believer of a Mashiach and a believer of just the overall faith. But I am growing also. He's allowing me to have access to do other things, because again, sometimes if someone's sick, you have to isolate them, deal with the wound, and then let them go out back into the mass population. And that's what the Most High had to do with me, because I was hurt. I was dealing with a lot of personal, internal battles, and it was not the church, because I don't have a problem with the church. Because people say, "Oh, you left because you left." I left the church with good standings, and I still talk to my friends. I still will go to a Sunday service. I have no beef with that, because if you don't make an inward change, you're lost. And that's what I had to learn, and I had to do before the Most High gave me an opportunity to have a platform, to be able to be involved in Berean, to be able. He opened so many doors. When I truly submitted to him, is when he opened those doors. When I began to be able to do the things that I'm doing, and to be able to have the access that I have now. Now, as far as my daughter, she's fine with it. One thing I will say is my daughter was never raised in churchianity. That's what I call it. Because I saw some of the things that was going on in the church, that I would shield and protect her from it, so she never got visibility into the routine of everything that I had gotten caught up in. So this transition is easy for her because her heart has always been with the Most High. This girl is 17 years old, and her relationship with the Most High is pure. I mean, when I say pure, it's so pure to the point that people will ask her, "You've been in church your whole life?" And she'll be like, I've gone to church, but my relationship with God is between me and Him." She loves Him. She has a yearning and the desire to follow Him. So far as this transition, she's doing fine with it. Does she have a lot of questions? Yes. She's at that age now that she's getting ready to get out on her own. That I can tell her about it, but she still has to make her decision. So she good with it. Either or, long as she is in communion with the Most High God. That's her only thing. She said, "I don't want to be a part of nothing that's going to disconnect my connection with God." And that's her biggest thing. So with her connection with Him, I'm just at peace with her being there before she can get to the other part. Now my mom, dad, they still kind of looking at me like,
one eye open, one eye closed.
Yeah, they looking at me like, "Are you all right?" But this is my journey. Before I can even say anything to anybody else, my mouth should not say that I am Israel. My walk should say that I'm Israel.
I like that part when you brought that out. You said, although you came to the truth, you knew that there were some things that you had to deal with you. And let me just say to all of you all in the chat room, you can come into the knowledge of the truth. Your DNA can be tracked all the way back to Abraham himself. If you're not personally right with the Most High, all of that, you're just like Israel. You're no different from Israel. We're no different from Israel. So these are the transitions that when you hear Sister E talk this, that although there was an excitement of coming into the knowledge of the truth, the reality of it is she had to deal with Sister E. And I know all of you all know that because I see the sentiments that's what's being echoed in the chat room. Somebody said, "I'm with you, Sister E." I know that. They did that. We have Sister E with us. Don't go anywhere. What is next for your channel? Where do you, because you were on Berean TV. I watched Brother Berean, and let me just say my experience with watching Brother Berean. One time he was going in with Pastor Mason and all of those guys, and they were going in on the Hebrews that owned the street camp. "What's wrong with you Hebrews? Y'all saying that the white people are the devil and this and that." So I don't know how I came across him, and I started typing. I said, "Hey, let's have a conversation." And I said, "Let me come on your channel. You got all Hebrews are not like that." So he responded, "I understand not all Hebrews are like that." So he gave me a reply after the fourth or fifth time of watching him. And then I started seeing this guy's starting to change his taste a little bit. He's starting to see some things. He's been doing something's working on him. And I didn't know what it was. And I still believe that. I say this guy is dabbling in Hebrewism. And then I saw you on the channel. And I saw you all were having the conversations and what have you. And I said to and I didn't even know, because you sometimes would be very quiet, and every now and then you would respond. And he would say, "Well, what do you think, Sister E?" "Well, Sister E, come on, we need to hear from you." And I said to myself one day, I said, she's a Hebrew. She's a Hebrew. She knows she's a Hebrew. And then it came out. I says, I knew she knew. But when you came out that day, let me tell you, it's like You called hell ever since then.
Oh yes, that was that was a very interesting time because when I initially joined Beren's panel, we started out as just a Bible study or a group that wanted to kind of study the Bible. We were not doing any lives. He wasn't recording them and uploading them. He wasn't doing anything. And one day we were doing a study, and it was like right around the time that the incident happened in Washington D.C. when that young man being disrespectful to the Native Americans, but they ignored that and looked at the Hebrew Israelites that were on, in the backdrop.
Yes.
And Beren was talking. He was just talking about it, and I said, Beren, I said, all of them are not like that. And we had already started having that conversation. And then one day I said, all of us aren't like that. He said, oh, so you're an Israelite now? I said, I've been an Israelite.
So, when you said all of us, that kind of took him by surprise.
Yeah. And he said, hold on. You're Israelite? I said, yes. He said, you believe you Israel? I said, yeah. He said, I got some questions. And he started asking me that whole barrage of questions. Do you believe that the Son is eternal? Yes. Do you believe in the Holy Spirit? Yes. Do you believe in the law? I said, I believe in the law that the Holy Spirit writes upon our hearts. That's in the Bible. Gave him scripture. He said, wait a minute. Hold on. You different. What's wrong? He said, you ain't out here cussing people out. I said, no. I said, if I cuss somebody out, it ain't got nothing to do with Israel. It's got to do with you doing something to me. So he laughed and he said, we're going to start having these conversations. And that's when we started having those conversations. And I was still quiet at that time because coming out just within, and it's crazy I said coming out, even internally in the group, people had started getting kind of like, oh, wow. Because I didn't wear a head wrap. I didn't do anything. And I wear a head wrap only because right now I can't get to the beauty shop. But when you looked at me, I looked like, normal person. I mean, not to say we don't look normal, but I don't fit the script of what they would consider to be that.
Right.
So after a couple of conversations, and that's when he started saying, Sister E, what do you think? Sister E, what do you think? And I was really protecting Beren. I didn't care nothing about what anybody thought about me. I knew that if I started coming full out, they were going to attack him. So I had to really, really, really pray to the Most High. And he had to show me, he said, if I can protect you, I can protect him. I need you to open your mouth and I need you to speak. I have you here for a reason. And when the Most High revealed that he had me there for a reason, is when I started speaking up.
Right.
Because I'm very caring of the people that's around me. And I very much so cared about his well-being because I knew that the people he was connected to, would go out and attack him. When I came out, all heck broke loose. I
know.
It came so hard to the point there were days that I would talk to Beren on the phone and I would say, Beren, I'm leaving the show. And he'll say, no, you're not leaving, Sister. No, I don't like how they doing you. I don't care about them doing me like that because I know how to hold my own. I'm a Memphis girl to my heart. You got to do a lot to break me. But I was more so concerned about him.
I saw that whole thing evolve, and I just said, I need to watch this. Every time they come on, because I saw this thing evolving. I saw the mood changing. I saw, wait a minute, they're going after this brother. And then I saw you becoming a little bit more vocal. He wanted you to become more vocal. And like you said, you were keeping quiet. And my brother Azar Fingers is over here. Azar Fingers.
He was in the comments with us. Yep,
yeah. My brother Azar, we got a IOG connection. And so I'm watching, then I see Azar Fingers over there. I said, wait a minute, there's a whole lot more Hebrews in this room. Then I start realizing there was a lot of Israelites in the room. And that I started to see on other channels. I started seeing some on my channel. I go in the room and they say, hey, Pastor Johnson. I'm like, who is that? Then I recognize them, and then I start seeing them on with Kingdom Harbor Ministries, Ron, Brother Ron. And I said, wow. So then I started seeing you talk a little bit more because he was forcing you. And like you said, you were trying to keep quiet. And then I saw the brutal change and the beating that came on. So what led you to get off?
Well, the thing is, I had to explain to Beran, I said, there are people out here that are not camps. I said, you're talking about somebody. When I started out studying, I was watching people, like I said, Pastor Darby. I was watching Taylor Ministries. I was watching Dante Fortson. And we were, and this is before I even was exposed to you, because I met you through Beran. I said, we're not like that. And I kept telling him, that's why he kept saying we can't lump them together. Because it actually started with me saying, you can't lump all of us together, Beran. And he'll be like, well, Sister E, what about it? I said, I can't speak for the camps. I can speak for me and the people I deal with. You can't lump us all together. So that's what kind of pushed that momentum, because then it made Beran to start looking at other people. You start looking at, you still have Boom out there, you have Majors, you had Pastor Kelly, you had different people that he started saying, wait a minute, they aren't camps. And he went through his own personal awakening, and I saw it before my eyes. And he came to the realization, the day I knew Beran came into the realization of, they got to stop this madness because they are all not like that, was one day Beran did a live and he started crying. He said, y'all can't tell me these people aren't saved.
Wow.
And when he said that and I watched it, that allowed me to see that he sees the big picture now. He sees what the Most High has been trying to show him. Now, did I have to go through persecution through the process? God, yes. I had to fight. I mean, there were days that it would be, and as I remember, that chat would be merciless, and you would be out there too. They would be ready. It was like they would wait for Beran to say Sister E, and every skeptic would just be like, bam, bam, bam. She don't believe in Christ. She don't believe in this. And what I'm saying is, these Hebrew brothers was in the chat holding it down. It was people like you, as our fingers. It was a lot of people in that chat. Tayu started coming into the chat.
Yes.
They was holding it down. They said, you not. And that's when I started seeing, I have people that are there behind me.
Good brother that came to your rescue. Was it Teo?
Teo and Dante, when Cherry
came.
Yeah. Everything came to a head when that happened. Thanksgiving. And I know everything, we saw that the ship, now I'm not going to say it was sinking, but we knew it was about to come to an end, because the persecution and the fight became harder. I mean, people started attacking him more. You could see that he was getting bogged down by external entities that was like, you got to get her off the channel. And me and Faithful, everybody knows that me and Faithful to God, we did not get along. We still don't get along. Putting us together in a panel discussion is going to lead to a war, because I never liked his tactics when it came to us. And it started with Pastor Kelly when he did the thing with the pews. And Faithful to God did a video. And actually it was this guy by the name of Abu that did the video. And he put it on his page. And they were saying that, that's not Hebrew. What does this brother know what he's talking? I mean, they just bashed him. And I'm sitting here saying, wait, we're trying to build with you all. Because what people don't realize is I was trying to build. I wanted to work with them. But instead of building, they kept throwing mud in my face. Like, just stop saying you're Israel. You're not Israel. It was a constant battle. And I'm like, I can't talk about the salvation power of Christ because I'm constantly having to defend myself on who I am, because y'all keep attacking that. So me and Faithful got into it really bad on a live with Beran Thanksgiving morning.
Yes.
It was so bad that Beran had to take the video down.
I didn't see that no more.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
Bad.
It was bad. Yeah.
And that's when everything shifted because Faithful, one thing about Faithful, he knows he can come at me, but I'm not going to stand there and let him attack me
Right.
because I'm not going to allow you to question my relationship with the Most High God because I know the connection I have with him.
And
So I'm
and
going to call.
and you took a very strong stance, and I said to myself, she really, to me, you may not have known the impact because I wanted to defend that there are other Hebrews who are not the street camp. And I have to commend you. You really hung in there. You really changed Berean's outlook. You really revealed to him, just like you have different denominations in the Romish Christian doctrine, you have those of us that know the true gospel. We're not teaching that because we're bringing it from according to the scriptures. I'll stand on that all day long, and I have to commend you when you did that. I said, man, and then when you said you're going to have a channel, I said, this sister is going to be very successful with her channel, very successful. And you really have. I mean, you've only had your channel less than what, 6 months?
I actually had my channel a year ago. Me and Berean noticed that our relationship, how we used to argue back and forth,
Right.
People love that. But people had started pulling like, where's Sister E? Where? And I never had visibility to it. And Berean was like, people really like you. And I was like, I spend majority of my time arguing in your chat. He said, but they come to argue with you. And I said, well, he said, why don't you start your own channel? It was his. What's so funny is my name, Sister E, he came up with. Berean came up with Sister E.
And your first name is?
Marthel.
So it has nothing to do with E.
It has nothing. It has to do with my last name. My last name is Ellison.
Okay, so see, okay.
So what happened was we were doing a show. We were doing our first class. It was a show. And I typed my full name in. Berean couldn't pronounce my name. He was looking at my name and he said, you know what, I'm just going to call you Sister E. And it was so hilarious that I said, okay, so you're going to call me Sister E.
I like it.
So because he had such a, and that it stuck. So I said, you know what? I'm going to stick to this name. I said, because I wanted to make it easy on this brother. And I said, I kind of like it. And that's how Sister E came about. Because at first, I came as my normal self, Marthel Ellison. And it was clear as day. I was getting ready to type my name. And clear as day, Holy Spirit, write Sister E. That's your name. And I'm like, Sister E. And I used to get my nephew saw the name.
Yeah.
And he made jokes about it. And he was laughing. He said, oh, so you Sister E now. And I never realized that right there would have been a big change for me. And when I made that shift, it was like that person that the Most High wanted me to be has started flourishing. Not to say that it's two different people. No, I'm not. But
no, I got you.
That name came with a price.
Wow.
And when I say I had to fight for it, it was a fight.
Yeah.
And it's just so hilarious how I came up with that name. But with that, Berean said, why don't you start your own channel? And what we'll do is we'll go back and forth and collaborate. Because we were getting ready to separate anyway. And that's what they didn't realize. The UA community did not realize we were getting ready to not necessarily part ways. But Berean said, I'm going to help you get ready because you have created a name for yourself. People will follow you. They will like you. Get started building your channel. And that was the plan. So I created the channel May 2019.
Yeah, because I remember when you created the channel, but you haven't been on more than 6 months.
I hadn't been on more than 6 months.
And I remember when you created the channel and then you said, well, I'm going to do this start date. And then it went a little bit longer.
It did because I was so involved with Berean TV that I never spent time working on my Sister E channel. And when everything happened, Thanksgiving Day, sometimes the Most High God has to push you to do what you need to do. Because I wouldn't have put that much energy into my channel unless that happened. And when it happened, that's when I said, I'm gonna start using my channel. I'm gonna start doing what I'm doing because it can't stop here. This is the will of the Most High, and I gotta walk in it. And what's interesting is I had my brothers, because I was afraid. I said, I don't want to be by myself. I was so used to the panel on Beren's show. I was afraid, and people don't realize I was petrified doing something. That's what took me so long. And Most High God allowed me to deal with some people that understood doing consistent content like that. I mean, when I started working with Tayu, I had been following Tayu brothers and Dante for a long time. And when everything happened with Cherry and G-Man, because at the end of it, after me and Faithful to God got into it, that night, me and Beren did another live, me and Sister Cherry and G-Man got into it. And that was the end of that era. It was a whole day of that. And I ended it that day and I cried and I said, but I gotta go. I said, the more I'm here, the more it's gonna be a struggle. And I don't wanna step out of who God wants me to be, because these people are trying to take me to a place that I don't need to go.
Yeah.
And so I decided, I said, I gotta go. And when I left, I told, because I had started already talking to Tayu and them. And Tayu said, Sister E, what happened? And I told Tayu and Dante, Tayu did a video. Dante did a video. And before you know it, people were coming at the very people that attacked me. And the most I had to drop in my spirit, I will have people fight for you because they know you have a good heart.
Absolutely.
And then you came in and you were like, Sister E, I will help you with your channel. And I said, wow, it was so many people to help me that I said, I gotta do it. So when I started doing it, I started doing more with Tayu and I started doing more with Dante. And the Tayu brothers was getting on my case to say, you gotta learn how to do, you're gonna have to start putting out more content. But I was like, I was afraid. I need y'all with me. Until one night I was sitting on my couch watching my TV, and this was during the COVID-19 when it just started. And I was looking at my laptop and I said, I'm gonna go live by myself and see what happens. After that, the late night lives have become consistent now. So it was just a process.
Now you're using Zoom, and you're able to go live because you have over 1,000 subscribers.
Yes.
And that came very quickly. I watched it come very quickly. And let me just say this to all of y'all. I felt bad because I really support Sister E. There's a few things we don't agree on, but that's okay. We have great dialogue. And I felt bad because I was on there and somebody said something, and then I went into my explanation of the 400-year doctrine, and I felt bad. I said, I'm not helping this way. And what I do like that there's enough that we do know that we know that we. So I said, Sister E, I shouldn't have done that. I felt so bad. But then but I always watch, and I said I could never do that again. But the more important thing I saw, and I said, she's doing so good, but I need to help her. I said, I got to help her. So right now you have a laptop.
Yep.
And you don't have a microphone.
No, I don't.
And what kind of laptop are you using?
I got a MacBook Air.
A who?
MacBook.
Which one is that?
That's the thin one, the very thin MacBook.
Is that the one that came out in?
Ooh, I've had this now. This laptop is old. I've had this laptop since 2015.
That's good. That's good. 2015 is good because it's Apple, right?
Yep.
So what I'm going to do, Sister E, I'm going to help you get a camera because you need another camera. Do you need a camera or a microphone?
I need, everybody keeps saying they can't hear me. I've never seen the part with the camera because, the MacBook comes with the camera installed on it.
It comes with a camera. I got a camera. I have some very good supporters out there, and when I'm able to do commercials and all like that. Speaking of which, I created this tonight for Sister E, and I'm gonna be creating her openers for her, so that when she goes to Zoom, she'll be able to have nice little openers because we need to help her take that channel to a different level. So I did this in about 3 minutes. I want to show it. I want to show it again because this is who we have with us tonight before we let her go. Sister E, I'm going to be sending this to you. This is and I know that you've been having problems because I've been listening, and I said, that sister needs a microphone. And so I'm going to be sending this to you. This is a Yeti microphone, and it's a pretty good top of the line microphone. It really is. And so I'm going to be sending this microphone to you. I'm going to get all your information, and I'm going to be boxing this up, and I'm going to be sending this nice little Yeti microphone to you. You can look it up. It is a top of the line. It's got the different things here. It's a very, very good microphone. So I'm going to be boxing this up. I'm going to be sending this to you. And all you got to do is take the USB cord and hook it right into your computer, and it will pick up the microphone. And so I'm going to be getting this microphone to you. I'm going to be getting it out this week so that when you go online and do your shows, we can hear you. So
oh wow, thank you so much.
oh no, that's the least. I love your channel. So this is what we have to do. We have to be helpers one to another. And your channel is a success, but we're gonna have to go with. So y'all go to Sister E's channel, show her some love, go there, watch. She's always on there late night. So I'm gonna be getting this out to you. I got the box around here someplace. I wanted to show you the box, but I'm gonna be getting this to you. And I'm going to be making you some infomercials, so that when you bring up your Zoom, you could just play those little infomercials. So we're going to help your channel go to a different level, because it's my supporters that has really helped me go from Zoom to Ecamm to I have a subscription through a company called Videos, Vidyoze. I was able to get the subscription where I can actually, everything's copyright with them, but I got the subscription where I can make stuff for other people like they do on Fiverr or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be making you a whole bunch of little infomercials and all like that. One of the things that I use is this. This is like $25. I got this from Home Depot. But this was the lighting that I used to use. I used to put it up, and it works very well. So you can see how well it lit me.
Yes.
The mistake I made one day was it's magnetic, and I put it on top of my computer. And I was live one day, and all of a sudden, my computer's acting up. I mean, it was totally, I said, what's wrong with my computer? And I said, Satan's a liar. You know how we get, Satan mad, And I also blame YouTube. I said, you know what, that's YouTube. They don't want me to get out. They don't want me to get out. And I'm sitting there, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with my computer. I was up with Apple all I called Apple. They couldn't figure out. And they said, Mr. Johnson, the only thing we're going to have to do, we have to reformat your hard drive because it's damaged. It got a corrupt. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this magnetic piece on top of my computer. And I said, oh my God. I know what happened to my
when
computer.
you said magnet on your computer, I said, oh.
I don't even know what I was thinking that day. I have no idea what I was thinking that day. I don't even know what was in my mind. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to also put this in the box so that you could have this, because you could use just one and it would do good. This was the poor man's way of LED light. But after a while, people started to help.
Coming for me.
Huh?
As I keep coming for me, every time you say something, he's like, "Yeah, she need both." As I, it's funny.
So I'm gonna make sure I send this, and you're gonna be straight for a while. With some infomercials, you're gonna be straight for a while. So that's what I want to do. I want to help your channel get going, get off the ground, and push it and get it out there, because I know that you are reaching. You're trying to get our people straight. So make sure you email me your address so I can get that and get this out to you this week. So we can. You need to have this by the weekend. You need to have this by the weekend.
You know, and the blessed part of it is, and this just you don't realize how much that has blessed me, because I was online looking for that exact same mic, and I was looking and I was getting ready to order it, and I said, let me wait a little bit. And clear as day, the Holy Spirit was just like, wait, just wait. And I'm like, I gotta go ahead and get this mic. And it was the exact same mic. And I thank you so much. You don't even realize how much that blessed me. That really has blessed me. That really has. God bless you. Thank you.
Praises to the Most High. Because when I got it, I went into I don't know if you all you've heard of Guitar Center?
Yes, I have to go there quite a bit because my daughter plays the keyboard.
Yeah. So we had a conversation on that.
Okay.
So I went to Guitar Center and I told him, I said, I have a YouTube channel. I need the best mic you can get. And the guy says, this is the microphone. Well, what happened was, so I bought it. I used it for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So in those 2 weeks, I probably went online about 3 times. And because we have an 800 number and I needed to do call-ins. So I had to get a mixing board because this wasn't working with so I was blessed when somebody said, here's your microphones, hook this up to your mixing board so you can do live call-ins. And I said, man, I just bought this microphone. So the guy at Guitar Center said, well, I can give you a store credit. He says, no, I take it back. I know you haven't used it that much. You just got it. So you know what I did? I brought it home. And so when I've been hearing your microphone, I said, I know what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to get Sister E on the show. And we're going to be a blessing to her to make sure she gets this. So, and then I got 2 good lights. And I said, I'm going to send, because this is all I had for the past 2 years. And it does wonders. And everybody kept asking me, what kind of lighting you got? $25. But it's LED. But it will do wonders. You'll see. Just don't put it on top of your computer. You know better than I do. I didn't know any better. I forgot. I knew better, but I forgot. So it was a pleasure having you here with us tonight, taking some time out of your schedule. We're going to make sure we get you straight. We're going to make sure we send you. So I'm going to email you commercials. And when I email them to you, I do it from time to time. If you like them, keep them. If not, you dip them. But I'm going to be sending you some stuff from time to time. This is my dear good friend, Sister Elaine. Up and she says, wow, Pastor Johnson, watching you bless Sister E. And so, oh, praises to the Most High. She's up in Cincinnati. She is also in video. One of my first productions that I like is I saw her do it. So we're going to get this to you, sister. Oh, what I do? See, I did something wrong again. There you go. There you go. I got you back. So we're going to do that, Sister E. We're going to get this up there to you and help you out. Thank you for coming on to the show tonight.
All right. Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
your MO is you normally go on. You're not going on tonight, are you?
I might. I don't know. I have to. The thing is now with everything going on, I'll go on just to check on everybody.
Okay.
Sometimes I just do that just to check on everybody to make sure everybody's good.
Yeah.
Because I know this is a trying time for everyone, and if I could just make somebody laugh for about a good 30 minutes, I think that does the world so much good. So I try. At first I was doing like 2 or 3 days. I said I was going to try to do a little bit more time with people because I stay worried about our people because it's a lot going on. So if I can get people out there just to laugh, to forget for a minute, that's enough for me to say, okay, I've done what I needed to do. So I might go live tonight because what time is it? See, they used to me going live at 12 o'clock.
I know, it's 12 o'clock. I'm going to go watch the news to see what's happening out there with these people and make sure ain't nobody burned up Miami. So I'm going to go watch that, and then I'm going to call it a night. Again, thank you for being with us. Thank all of you all for coming in. Tonight we had Sister E. You all go check out her channel. It's Sister E. You can find it on YouTube. Become a subscriber. And this is what we have to do. We have to help our Hebrews get out there, especially ones that has good content and getting the truth out there. And so she does a wonderful job, and just late night talks is good. So, Sister E, any final words you want to leave with us?
I just want to tell everybody thank you. Thank you, Pastor Johnson, for having me. Thank you so much for the mic. So you don't have to say, I can't hear you, Sister E, anymore. Thank you so much. I would say subscribe. You'll enjoy it. And hope to see you all there. Like I said, it's a humble channel. I just want to do things for my community to let people know, we care for you. So many of us get so caught up in the things that we do for our channels. I notice how warm your channel is, Pastor Johnson, and that's what I always wanted to do. Make sure that even though this is something where people are seeing me, they still see that she does love people. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Sister Diora says, Sister E's trying to get people fired. She knows we cannot watch her lives, even if it's midnight. We're going to go to work with a hangover. But let me tell you, I did that. I did that last night. I got caught up watching it to almost like 1:30 in the morning. So yes, somebody asked, where am I? I am in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Hollandale, the greater Fort Lauderdale. So that's where we're located here. Here's some of our contact information. You all reach out. Here's our email. You can always tune in anytime you want to. There's our email address, our 800 number, our Cash App if you want to help continue to support us on our social media ministry and anything that we do. This weekend, if you want to send, we're going to be feeding at our congregation as we do every first Sabbath. We're going to be feeding the homeless and those that are in need in the community. This is the first Sabbath of the month, and we do that. We had so many people during last month that we had to double up on our funding. The lady that's over that, I had to give her, I said, you better take some extra funding this for next week, because we really anticipate a big punch out for that. So if you all like to do something like that, that's how you do it. I had already put our information up on there. And that being said, Sister E, have a great night. Don't forget to send me your address so I can get this out to you.
Okay, I can do that tonight.
Yes, so we can get it to you so you can get going. I will make sure that I do it as an expeditious package so that you can get it quickly so you can start to putting it to use right away. All of you all, thank you for tuning in. Keep our people in prayer here, there, and everywhere. Sister E, thank you for tuning in. Peace, and we'll see you all. We're going to let you in on this playlist.
There will be mountains I would have to climb, and there will be battles I would have to fight. But victory or defeat, yeah, it's up to me to decide. But how can I expect to win if I never try? I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I've started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. Never said there wouldn't be trials, never said I wouldn't fall, never said that everything would go the way I wanted to go. But when my back is against the wall and I feel all hope is gone, I just lift my head up to the sky and say, help me to be strong. Oh, I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. No, you didn't bring me out here to leave me lonely, even when I can't see clearly. I know that you are with me, so I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. You did not create me to worry. You did not create me to fear. But you created me to worship daily. So I'ma leave it all right here. My hands are raised because I surrender. Your will is what's best for me. I worship you because you're Jehovah Jireh. I bow before the King of Kings. No more crying, no more complaining. I believe your word is true. Lord, you promised never to leave me lonely. So this is what I'm going to do. I
trust in you, Lord. I will trust